Do you have a brilliant startup idea but are stuck in the launching phase? Are you feeling overwhelmed by funding, marketing, or just where to start? Don't let your startup idea stay grounded. Visit our website at eapla.com to schedule a Blue Couch meeting and launch your startup journey today.
We're rolling again. We're back here on the cusp. Matt's back with me.
Thank you, Dave.
We're doing another one. Who's our guest today?
Man, this is a good one. Andrew Gaspard, the owner of Sportspectrum, is here today. I appreciate you coming, Andrew.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So, Sportspectrum is like a legendary part of Shreveport, at least in my life.
Sure.
I grew up a runner, running in high school. Matt Brown was like this cool, local business owner guy, doing cool things, throwing races, throwing these events, and then you bought the store from Matt. You want to talk a little about like that process and how you ended up in Shreveport owning a running store?
Yeah, when you put it that way, it seems like there's a lot of pressure to follow that. But so I grew up in South Louisiana originally, and wasn't really a runner growing up. I played a bunch of sports, but none of it was this concentrated running. And long story short is we made our way to Baton Rouge and went to LSU and then moved to Shreveport for my wife to go to PA school. And I'm in this class and I'm on my computer trying to find a job in Shreveport. And I was like, well, I like running. My friend had a job in college at a running store. Maybe I'll see if there's a running store. And so I Googled Shreveport running store and Sportspectrum came up and it was a half mile from my house. And so I filled out one of those contact us forms that no one really ever responds to. So it's, what's your name, where are you from, what you want? And they gave me a call back and I started working on the floor like the next week. But owning the store was never part of any vision, any idea that I had. Our goal was to get back to South Louisiana. With our family down there, we had church down there, everything was kind of set up for us down there. And had been a South Louisiana boy my whole life. And so coming up here, I kind of felt like a Yankee, this high north of 10. And so Matt found out eventually that I had plans to go back down and called me into his office one day and said, hey, I want to have this discussion about a potential buy-in at that time. And so I had that meeting with him and I walked out and I called my wife and I said, you ever feel like you had this conversation that changed your life? I think I just had that. And so I go home, we talk about it, pitch it to her, and just thinking that she's going to absolutely just shut it down. She's one of 5, all her family's in South Louisiana. There's no shot this is going to go anywhere past this weekend. And so I said, let's take some time. You pray about it, I pray about it separately. That meeting was on a Friday, and so I go to work Saturday all day, come back, and I say, hey, how was your time in prayer about it? And she said, I started crying. I said, oh, this is DOA. I mean, we're done.
Yeah.
And she said, I think this is what we're supposed to do. And so just one meeting after another, one foot in front of the other. And probably about 4 years after that is when I bought the store.
I remember I was doing marketing with Matt Brown, meeting weekly, and I remember going one day and he said, hey, I just want to let you know I'm going to sell the store to Andrew. Mm-hmm. And I said, what? Oh, that's awesome. I was like, when? He was like, in 5 years. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, what? I remember the first time I met Andrew, you said you weren't a big runner. Right when I met him, I was like, that guy's fast.
Yeah.
He looks more like a runner than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I picked it up in high school and college, and that's when I really fell in love with it. Just of what it can do for you and what it can give you. I mean, running can give you community.
It is the one medicine, that's guaranteed to give you longevity.
Sure. No, it's incredible. And anyone can do it, and you could do it for your whole life. The community it brings you, the satisfaction, the goals you can set. I mean, it's just incredible. But there's so much difference between being a runner and owning a running store that just because you're good at one doesn't mean that you'll be successful at the other. And so trying to manage that is fun.
And Sportspectrum has always gone in and out of what it is
Sure.
so many iterations. I remember being a kid in Portico and it being full of tennis rackets and a bagel store at one point
Right.
and a yogurt store at one point. And I've loved watching your takeover of the store and your personality really take over,
Yeah.
flow through
Yeah.
the store.
But you've always consistently given back to the community. You're not just, selling shoes and apparel and things like that. You're sponsoring events. You're putting on events
Right.
all the time. You guys are a big part of the community.
Yeah, it sounds strange as a business owner to say that my number one metric of success is not dollars and cents, because it's very countercultural to say that, and people will scoff at me and say he's high and mighty, but that's a part of it. Obviously, to own a business, to run a successful business, you need sales, you need to make money. But I tell my management all the time, that can't be our only measure of success, because the economy changes daily. I mean, look where we're at now. And so sometimes sales are great, sometimes sales are down, but if you can put your head on the pillow knowing that you help impact a life, impact the community, to me, my biggest asset is my staff, the people who work for me. And so doing my best to be a blessing to them, to the community, that's a bigger measure of success for me than dollars and cents. I
Now,
think
you guys are planning the marathon, right?
Yeah, so we had our first marathon this past November. It has always been a half marathon, and we said every big city has a marathon.
Yes.
It's so important. Like,
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, every big city has a marathon. To have people come into our city to show it off, the impact boost that comes when 800 people come into the city helps everyone else out, other businesses, restaurants, hotels, and so we're really excited about the future of that.
yeah, I mean, and
Now, when is it? When do you run the marathon?
It's the Sunday before Thanksgiving in November.
it's such an important thing. In the list of things, I'll always bring up a music festival.
Sure.
Because I think we're the biggest city that doesn't have one. A marathon, we were probably the biggest city without a marathon as
Right,
well.
right.
And so I really appreciate you taking the risk and taking the effort to check that one off the list, because it's going to take all of us.
Sure.
And so,
Yeah, I think the marathon in Shreveport is great because Shreveport has one of the best running communities I've ever been a part of. I mean, people can poke fun at Shreveport for this or that, but the running community and the relationships that are built during a race or during training are really second to none. And so to be able to offer a race for that community in their backyard, where Matt can wake up on a Sunday morning and drive 10 minutes to be at the start line of a marathon,
Right.
that doesn't happen very often. But at the same time, to bring in Houston and Dallas, to bring in South Arkansas, to bring in the rest of Louisiana, because Louisiana only has 3 marathons left in the state. And so to give people more
Are you
opportunities.
one of the 3?
I'm one of the 3, yeah.
Who are the other?
So there's the Louisiana Marathon in Baton Rouge,
Okay.
and that's in January. And then the Zydeco Marathon is in Lafayette, and that's in March. So we're the only fall one. And those are great races. I've run Louisiana, I haven't run Zydeco, but yeah, to be able to give our people an opportunity to train on the course, to run, to be at the starting line within minutes is really great. But then also to bring people in to show off that Shreveport has a ton of great assets to show
Yeah.
off. And so
how many races does Sports Spectrum a part of putting on a year?
if we were to count like Sports Spectrum produced races, I think that number is about 11 or 12.
That's almost every month you're putting on a race.
And then
Yeah,
how
and that's our
many-
goal, is to try to put one on every month. And then if
you count everything you work
if Matt's kid's school wanted to put a fundraiser on, I think that's probably somewhere in the 50s.
That's awesome.
I mean, at this point, which
So
is
the
like
5Ks, you're not counting that yet, all the 5Ks. that
no, I
you're
am.
supposed-
Yeah,
You are counting
yeah. So probably 60 races in total. I mean, sometimes like this weekend we're pushing 2 races. Next weekend we have 2 races. I mean, it gets pretty busy when the weather allows it to.
you still do a triathlon.
We do a triathlon,
Benton.
yeah. We love it. It's just, it's such a crowd favorite. It's such a great event to be a part of. The energy out there
That's a big thing to put together.
It's a huge undertaking. I myself am not a triathlete, and so it's weird that I don't feel the same energy at the marathon. There's something special about being at Cypress Bayou Lake that morning. Is just. I hope that race continues forever. It's such a fun thing to be a part of.
It's such a cool, like, unique thing
Sure.
that it's another thing that matters.
Yeah.
You know, it's another thing that's got to exist. Okay, so the store. Let's talk about, like, the actual store.
Yeah.
The store, people know the store definitely as a shoe store.
Sure.
But you have really developed, like, the full lifestyle kind of clothing look there. Mm-hmm. Why is that important to you? Kind of talk through your passion and all that and how you're going at that.
So I had a friend of a friend call me up one time and say, hey, I want to open a running store. And I said, well, this is much bigger than just a 5-minute phone conversation. But if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's that if you just want to be a hardcore running store, where you only carry running shoes and running clothes to give to marathoners, you'll be closed in 6 months. I mean, the space is...
It's like the bike shops, like the high-end like bike shops, they always struggle because, like, how many bike, you're one thing.
Yeah.
Well, you're competing now against, you can go online and buy a pair of shoes.
Oh, the market has changed so much where the channel is, you could buy this shoe in 10 different places on one Google search. I mean, it's crazy. And so in some ways, I'll say that Matt kind of started that legacy, kind of to your point earlier, of always adjusting and pivoting to find the next thing. And so people say, oh, are they a running store? They carry Patagonia. We've carried Patagonia, for instance, and that's just a random brand out of my mind, since 1980. I mean, it's been there forever.
I learned about Patagonia was in Sportspectrum for sure.
And so finding something that the niche that we're trying to find is active lifestyle, where you may you may work out in it, you may just lounge in it, but to be this one shop where you could check so many boxes at one time, I was thinking you just have to evolve, you have to change, you have to look for what's that next thing. Not that we're always just trying to find that popular brand to ride that wave and then end, but
well, it's really interesting because as the world has kind of changed, I think Sportspectrum has fit what people wear more and more. You and I were talking about it the other day. I mean, now you can very much go into Sportspectrum and get from your running lounge clothes to things I can work in. That I could actually wear to work. And now the women's side of that, they're wearing your stuff. I mean, Kathleen wears tights and workout stuff 90% of her life, probably.
My wife and I went on a date night to Superior Steakhouse, and my entire outfit was from Sportspectrum, and that's not something that you would normally assume from a running store. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun part of the job to find, does this meet the essence and the philosophy of our store, while at the same time maybe bending the boundaries of what people expect us to be.
All the best entrepreneurs, in my opinion, are like super passionate about what they do. And I love watching you. We've had a lot of talks where you're like buying shoes. You're getting the next group of shoes that are going to come in, and you're like fired up, and you're looking at that. I mean, that is like fun to watch.
Yeah, it's really neat. I really enjoy it, and it's just such a fun thing to be a part of. I have so many great people on my team who make my job. I mean, they make me look so great. But it's such a collaborative effort that that's one of the things that was really important to me in owning the store and running the store, was inviting people to do this with me, kind of go on this journey together. Let's see what we can build together. And so that collaboration with my staff is really important.
Have you ever considered opening another one?
I have, yeah. I've thought about it a lot. It's something, to find the right timing is important. But I've always thought, if we can get the Shreveport store right, in terms of the culture, what you expect when you walk into that store, all those backdoor policies and stuff, if you can get that right, and you are outward focused with taking care of your staff, taking care of the community, you can drop them in different locations and do well. And so, yeah, it's definitely something that I'm passionate about of the things that we're doing, the impact we're having here, why can't we do it here or here?
Right.
And so, yeah.
Knowing your market and what you're offering is absolutely key, and it sounds like you've really focused on that before you just jump out and open the second one.
Yeah, I think if you can get things as tight as you can in the first one, it's not necessarily plug and play, because a different context will bring different challenges or success stories there, but it'll certainly make a little less headache if you can kind of figure things out on the
completely
front
understand where
Now,
you're going.
you touched on it, and you're going to hate me taking down this route, but I'm taking you
Sure.
there because
Go ahead.
because it's deserved. It is important to give back to your community
Sure.
that you do business in. And my job is meeting with business owners every week.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet with great business owners that are great people, that are good community members. I've only had one guy have me walk into a meeting and say, hey, I want to talk about how we're giving back more in a meeting, and that's you.
Yeah.
And that was so impressive to me, and I really admire that
Sure.
about you. Andrew decided to give 150 of youth in Shreveport that can't afford to go to Sportspectrum and buy shoes. Brand new pair of shoes to start school with this year in middle school and high school through community renewal. We had Jimmy Graves on not long ago, and it was magical. And it was a really cool thing, and I think we need to encourage other businesses to do that.
Sure.
So, I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about just why that's important to you?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, that will stem from my faith that says, I don't own this store, Jesus owns the store, and I'm to be a steward or a manager of that. And that's every aspect of it, the money, the platform, the resources, all of it. And so I want that mark to be bigger, like I said, than just dollars and cents. Your buddy Grant, when he closed Twisted Root, the Facebook post, I went and looked at the comments, and what struck me most about that, I don't know if I ever told you the story, was just how many people said, thanks for always donating to my kid's school.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like, and I don't know the full story, it seemed like he never said no to a fundraiser or a gift card giveaway, and that was the legacy that store left. That's what he was known for. That was all over the comments. And so I just thought, man, what a great legacy to leave of you helped people.
Right.
And so that inspired me of who can I help? How do our store be more than just a business? How do I help bring my people into it where they are a blessing as well?
Cool.
And so it was this effort that was for every pair of shoes sold in the month of August, we put so many dollars towards it, and it ended up being around that number. And then what was also important for that was giving them the option to pick their shoes.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah,
That was really great, because in that scenario, a lot of times, a lot of those kids, they get what they get.
Yeah.
And so for them to say, hey, I'm going to get you a shoe, and you can pick out the shoe, the color,
Yeah,
all
they
of it.
came into the store and
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that was really neat.
That is an incredible story. That really.
it was so
touches.
powerful because so many of those kids, dealing with high school
Right.
pressures and
Yeah.
bullying
You come
and
into
peer
the store
pressure.
and pick your shoe.
They're going to high
okay?
school with a brand new pair of cool Sportspectrum shoes.
I read one time that and I forget the technical term for it, but the number one reason that kids don't go to school is they don't have shoes. That's the number one thing. And so when Matt and I were kind of brainstorming, okay, do we help feed kids in school? Do we do these things? His thought was, you have this heart to do this, but you also are the running shoe store. I think
I liked
running
the yeah.
shoes just makes the most sense. And so it's something I hope we do every year. And we're always looking for ways to give back like that, because again,
You never know what life you're impacting when you pick something like
Right.
that. You don't know what the return is going to be. You don't go into it expecting any return.
Sure.
But it changes someone's life.
Yeah.
And to impact that is incredible.
And then I also think that it impacts our staff who get to be a part of it too. because it helps put things in perspective for people. It helps remind us that we're more than just people who sell shoes. That's what I always try to tell them when we're at the store is we're doing more than selling shoes. Even take that scenario of underprivileged kids out of it, just anyone who walks in, the service that we provide can be so much more than just putting a shoe on their foot.
Right.
And you are so much more than just a shoe store.
Yeah.
This is an incredible story.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that story, and the reason I love it is because we Shreveport-Bossier are hard on ourself. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see or hear people, slamming Shreveport. It's people that are in Shreveport-Bossier that are doing that. And if you can just take that and change the narrative to say, hey, there are great things happening in Shreveport every day.
Right.
And Sports Spectrum is a perfect example of it.
Sure.
We could think of the impact you can have doing that.
Yeah, I just think that if every person finds their role, their spot to do this, I mean, you think of what Shreveport needs and you can get overwhelmed by how many needs there are. But if every person just does their part to make it a little better place, as someone who's not from Shreveport originally, like this is where I live, this is where I'm raising my family, this is where my kids go to school, why would I not do everything I can to make this place better?
You're invested in this community.
Sure.
And I appreciate that. Thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Enjoy the podcast? We would love your feedback about today's show and who you think should be our next guest. Send us an email at info@eapla.com. Also, be sure to share the show and leave a comment on our social media post.